God damn, Chainsaw Man continues to be completely intense. Everything about it, I've just been having so much fun reading, and I've been hopefully getting people to check out the series as well as get other people to, at least give it an attempt. Everyone that I've gotten to at least try it has had fun with it. It's just such a standout series compared to everything else in Weekly Shonen Jump, or just a lot of like big weekly shonen in general. And I think a lot of that is from the fact that the guy who is doing it before this was a seinen writer who did a really weird seinen. And Chainsaw Man, it's again, I'll come at it like it's a masterpiece, 10 out of 10. It's just fun, it's enjoyable. The characters stand out, as I said. They don't fall in a line that you're able to really predict. Like everything about Power just is absolutely ridiculous. Like we're only like 18 chapters in, and she's like tried to kill the main character multiple times, and she's like up for sacrificing him so she could get out and go do more horrifically bad stuff because she just completely screwed up in the head. But getting to the chapter itself, really, it was just so much fun. Again, just so much fun. And there were so many panels that I had to stop and just look at, because even the very first panel of the chapter, when they're all like standing, not even really standing, they're all kind of just on that door, and you can see out in the hallway after like the space has completely done like a turn, and you just see the eternity devil, and it's got like all these fleshy pieces coming around it and like crawling up the hallway, but in the middle there's this big, just jagged like creature, like it's just covered in faces, and it's got this like grotesque mouth and nostrils, and it's just horrific looking, like for real. And I've always really liked monsters when they stand out. Like I'll watch a horror movie if it has a cool enough monster, regardless if I'm going to the movie thinking it's gonna be good or not. If it's got a good enough monster, I'll watch it, just because I always really liked monster designs in general. But not only did you get that, but you actually got a really good, as I said, the first real ship in the series. And again, I say real ship and not like two characters looked at each other and the fan base wants them to have sex. But Himeno and Aki, because we saw in the last few chapters, they have some interesting chemistry. And meanwhile, he's like, I'm going to use the sword, so, we're going to get out of here. And Himeno just immediately uses her ghost power to grab all over Aki, so he can't use it at all, and trying to restrict him. So you had that kind of like interesting moment with her character where she just regardless of it meant the safety of everyone else, she clearly has a high value for Aki. I think it's not only in the fact that she's probably got feelings for him, but also the fact that she was in kind of like this bleak mindset before getting him as a partner, because all of her partners before that died. So there's probably a combination of not wanting another partner to die, but also the fact that he's been living and they've actually like got along pretty well, and he probably just wants to kind of keep that up and preserve it. She's also just like, well, I guess the only thing left to do is to kill Denji. And then Arai and Kobeni are both just like, yeah, let's kill Denji, fuck him. And Aki's the only one that's just like, no, how about not? How about we not kill the guy for this? He goes over and he actually gets stabbed by Kobeni, and I thought it was actually a really cool part, because it wasn't like, oh, he's, I don't like him, but he's still our friend. It was, no, he's like, I don't like Denji, he's a piece of shit, but to defeat the Gun Devil, I need as many people as possible, and he's clearly, capable, so we need him, and not for friendship or camaraderie or for the devil hunting like company or service, whatever they are. It's really specifically for his own goal of taking out the Gun Devil. And actually got a good part again with Power, again also somebody helping somebody else completely selfishly, because she's a blood demon, or I keep saying demon, blood devil, and she's like, yeah, I could stop the bleeding of the wound, but it's easy for me to control my own blood, but other people's is a little difficult, but I'll do it only because he makes good food. And again, it's just like these characters are completely, you don't get a lot of like that shonen feel, because a lot of them are just like, well, I'll only do it because X reason that's really for myself. Meanwhile, with Himeno, when she sees Aki bleeding and going out, you actually got a really cool panel where it just shows like a representation for the graves of her former partners, and at that moment she kind of like starts to break down and panic, and she's been pretty calm and collected so far, But at that point, just like seeing her start to, kind of collapse was really interesting because clearly she has a lot of emotional tie into that whole experience, but also just Aki in general in multiple ways. And then you have Denji, who's like, I'm going to do it, but it's not going to be how I think. And from that, he's like, because he talks about how they can't really kill it without knowing that they can't know it without knowing where it's hearted, so they can't kill it, or its core, heart, whatever you want to call it as. But it still feels pain. So his plan is to make it hurt so bad until it just kills itself, so it doesn't hurt anymore. And I'm like, are you supposed to be a shonen main character? And not just a shonen main character, you're a shonen main character in Shonen Jump. Like, that's the main one of the main ones. Again, that's like for comic books, at least it used to be. For superheroes, really, you're gonna think Marvel and DC, but Marvel is much more, I'd say, audience friendly. Well, more of like a large scale audience. And meanwhile, you get that a lot with like Weekly Shonen Jump. They don't get as maybe as dark as often. Obviously, that's not the case anymore. You'll have dark moments, but you don't have what Chainsaw Man already has in 18 chapters. And the main character is his first kind of big struggle fight, where it's not just chainsawing through the Bat Devil. He was much stronger than him the second he went chainsaw, but his plan is okay, I can't kill him, so I'm just gonna hurt him until he wants to just suicide. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. But also the fact that he's also his motivation isn't, I want to help people. It's further just his whole scheme to get chicks. He obviously wants to get with Makima, but also with Himeno, he still wants that French kiss from her. But actually, there was a really cool part purely for his character, because we know his backstory, the whole thing about he's paying off his father's debt to the Yakuza. I think it was the Yakuza. It's some form of mafia. But because Aki jumped in and saved him, then he owes him, and he doesn't like to be in anyone's debt. So I thought that was actually a really cool part for his character, because I talked about the thing about Denji. I think is super interesting, and I think it stands out a lot for him, just in a series in general. Is usually when you get to the start of a series, the first big chunk of the series is you learning about stuff of the main character, but Denji didn't really have much of a character because he spent most of his life just working. And so a lot of what Chainsaw Man has been this so far 18 chapters, it feels like he's trying to find out who he is, and not a soul searching. He doesn't have a character, so he's trying to just figure out how to be, which I think is really interesting again, and definitely just feels so much different than a normal show. And it's jumping down. It's such a creepy look, because you see all this grotesque, deformed, this flesh monster with this dark hole in the middle, and then in that pit there's this jagged looking creature with all these big skin teeth, and then out from it he just pumps up the chainsaw, and you just see him start slashing and goring everything around him, and it was just so cool. But he also got a good moment where Power's talking about how he's running out of blood, because obviously the devils are, they need human blood in order to sustain themselves. So Denji hopefully will get some from one of them, and then be able to heal up and then continue, get some more stamina, keep the chainsaws revved. So just it was such a sick moment at that point too. Everything about this chapter I really liked. I think this might be my favorite chapter of Chainsaw Man altogether. Oh, I guess I can't say altogether so far, because it had character development and exposure for Denji. You had really interesting character aspects for both Aki and Himeno, and a little bit of Power too. But also at the end, there was a really interesting part, because the Eternity Devil, because we know that he's clearly specifically after the chainsaw. He doesn't say specifically that Denji did something. He's referring to him as a chainsaw, and he says that compared to before, he's gotten weak. So clearly they've fought before, and he's got to have a grudge on him. But it wouldn't be Denji. It would be what was his dog, Pochita? I can't remember how it's pronounced, but it also opens some deeper lore aspects of this series as well. So that's akin, Puchita is his dog name. I was looking up in the middle of this, but there was literally everything in this chapter. You had development, you had action, you had sick panels, you had character exposition, you had you got like some backstory. It was just a good chapter altogether. And again, if you haven't yet, if you haven't checked out Chainsaw Man, check it out. It's legitimately, I think it's one of the most interesting new shonens in a long time. There's been a lot of stuff that's come out that I've been really enjoying that's new. You know, I've been really liking Ida Zero, Gambler's Parade, How Warden Haguma. They're all fun, but Chainsaw Man just feels so different to other shonens. And even if the other shonens, like the ones I just mentioned, they have some shonen aspects to them, I'm still enjoying them, even if they have, you know, some tropes. They're handling things differently than other authors would. But just like Chainsaw Man just stands out so much, and I'm loving it, and I really hope that other people will start, you know, following up with it, because even though sorry, I'm stuttering because I'm so excited. I had so much fun even rereading this for the review. Even though the videos and reviews for this don't get that many views, like compared to if I did a video on Fairy Tail or Black Clover, I had so much fun talking about it, and I've been enjoying watching, you know, when anyone like I'm gonna try out Chainsaw Man and then sing like after posts and talk about how much fun it is. I haven't seen anyone read it and be like, I didn't like it, I thought it was dumb, or it's like, no, it's action packed, it's fun. There's just so many interesting areas of it that it's already covering. But on that, drop a comment below what you think about this. Have you been enjoying Chainsaw Man too? Because again, I freaking love this series so far. I can't wait for there to be an English released volume. Especially even look at cover 1. Look at cover 1. It just looks so good with the green, yellow, and orange. It just looks beautiful. Again, other than that, drop a comment, like I said, and I really appreciate if you thumbs up the video, but press the like button and the subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.